Well, hello. Welcome to Real Talk, Real Solutions. My name is Dr. Anana Pfeiffer Darrell Home. I am glad that you are here listening in, if you're streaming in, but it is time. It's time for Real Talk, Real Solutions. And I tell you, each week, I'm truly just honored, just even the opportunity to come on and share and speak with the folks that are connected, speak with the tribe, if you will. And it's so funny because every week we come back and every week we have this dialogue, right? And I love to say women of dialogue, if you will. And each week I'm inspired and challenged to have real conversations about what's happening in our community and around the world. And one thing I know is, did you know that there are some common things that are happening around the world, right? And I love it because we can be you can be in South America, you can be in Africa, you can be in Asia, but you know what? We still are one. We still are one. We still are facing various challenges, even as we are, if you will, in a post COVID era, right? And still dealing with this pandemic. And this week, what I know and I'm learning is that this is Black Mental Health Week. Right. And did you know that Black women are 3 to 4 more times likely to die during childbirth or pregnancy related causes? And these things are such as even having like heart attacks, what do you call the blood clots, right? And the pandemic is even making this worse, right? And most of the deaths that are attributed to Black women in regards to their pregnancy, they're all considered preventable. And therefore, much more can be done to stop them. And the one thing is, first, everyone from the doctors to you and I, to family members, to the media, we need to first stop blaming women. Stop blaming them, thinking maybe they didn't go to the doctor, they didn't take care of themselves. And instead, we need to focus on better understanding the underlying issues, the underlying factors. And these include, one, lack of data, not educating patients about signs and symptoms, and not believing them when they speak up. Errors have been made by care providers, poor communication among the healthcare team, and finally, studies have shown that interventions such as wider access to midwifery, group prenatal care, and social doula support are effective in improving maternal health outcomes. So it's so important that we make room for Black mothers and maternal health. And I just want to even think about it. I love just even our audience, my own story. I remember, having my first child at 19. And I remember, having a tough delivery. And they wind up having a C-section. Right. But not knowing, not really being aware, not being fully educated. Right. There's some of the common things that mothers, especially Black women, consider, right, is, will they find someone who looks like them? Even in a delivery room, even when you go to your appointments, can you trust that they will listen to you? Can I advocate for myself without being perceived as an angry Black woman? I've had bad experiences. Will this be different? You ever thought about that? Have you ever felt that way? And just thinking even about our audience and mothers out there, and our experiences of carrying children and even postpartum depression and different mental illnesses that come about. We know that our community, right, is affected. And of course, now, even with the pandemic, we are more likely to experience some form of postpartum depression than our white counterparts. So I just wanted to take this opportunity this week to just speak about the issues, right? And empower you to consider it. Check on someone that may be in the early stages of their pregnancy, even postpartum, maybe a few months home, with the baby, just to tap in and always be open and welcome to real talk and be open to offer real solutions. So that's my plug for tonight. And I guess one of my quotes I just wanted to share is, you shouldn't fear failure. You should fear regret. So that, don't be afraid. Just open up, move forward by faith, right? And tonight again, I'm excited because I have a great guest that I have the opportunity of getting to know even more with the audience tonight. And she was born and raised in Gary, Indiana. And she now resides in Georgia. I didn't even know that. Y'all know Gary, Indiana? She got to tell us a bit about that. That's where the Jackson Fives are from, right? I think, right? And I guess she is royalty. How about that? Royalty. She is the daughter of a king and the most high. She is also a sister, a mother, a grandmother, a friend, an advocate, a learner, an educator, a motivator, and a businesswoman. She is a lover of all things positive. So you know I'm connected, right? You know we are in alignment. But most importantly, she is a virtuous woman who expects victory every day. Not every week, not every month, not every year, but she says every day. And as a certified financial instructor and the founder and creator of Eve, which stands for Expect Victory When, type it in the comments, every day, and empowering virtuous entrepreneurs. The message behind the words is that we can expect, so we need to expect victory every day. And I love this. The mission of the network is to edify, validate, and exalt. Come on now. All those that are a part of the network, as well as those who support the network. She is passionate about teaching financial literacy, health and wellness, fun, and fashion. She is an entrepreneur to the how many degrees? 1, 2, 3, 4, to the fifth degree, and probably working on even more. So listen, I am super, super excited to invite to the platform today to have her come and share with the audience with Real Talk, Real Solutions. None other. Now listen, I'm going to bring her up because you know what? I have her as Paula Reed. I know on Facebook she's Paula Atkinson. So I want to make sure you can connect with her wherever, however. But welcome to the show, Paula. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. So happy to have you here tonight. This is a time like we say, and I don't want anyone to feel nervous, uncomfortable. It's just us having some girl talk with a few folks watching, right? With a few folks listening. But always, as a woman and youth civility practitioner, is really to come and offer solutions, right? To be intentional about what we share, the inspiration, the education, empowerment, and I love Eve. So I want you to just, I shared a little bit about it, but just the heart of you being the visionary of Eve, which is the lovely background behind you. Where did this come from? Where did it all stem from? And when did you launch such an amazing program?
Okay. Well, first off, I have to edify you. Before I tell you that, I just want to edify you and take a moment and just tell you thank you, first of all, for having me. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for all that you do. Please don't ever stop, because I've been watching, and I cannot begin to tell you how inspiring you are to me, and I'm sure many, many other women, and as well as the guests that you've had. I've been taking notes since you've relaunched, and just very inspiring, very motivating. And so please don't stop, because you have no idea how many lives you are touching, how many people you are helping. And so thank you for all that you do. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Can't stop. Look, we come too far to turn around now, right? We have to keep moving forward. Indeed. So I mean, just a little bit about your bio. Now, Gary, Indiana, that is where the Jackson Five were from, right?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And a funny story, I grew up on Jackson Street, 1328 Jackson. They lived on 2300 Jackson. So right down the block. They were long gone by the time I was born, though. I think my 12 when I was born. They were already in California, but that's where I'm from, Gary, Indiana, the home of the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
That's it. That is it. So did you grow up there? You went to school there, everything, graduated and everything from Indiana?
Yes. I lived there until I was 18. I left my senior year of high school.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Finished my here in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Michigan. Okay, got some folks in Michigan too. Interesting, interesting. And that's not too far, right? Like a few hours away.
Yeah. Well, yeah, about 3 hours away.
3 hours away. Okay, okay. And then where did you go? Tell us a little. Look, you're giving us a little bit of the chronology, right, of your life. So where did you go from there?
So, lived in Michigan for Grand Rapids, Michigan for 17 years, and then I moved to Atlanta or Georgia in 2005, and I've been here ever since.
Wow. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, so tell us. So now you are a grandmother, right? You have two children. So tell us a little bit about the woman, about the mother, right? And just about just developing, because we see you now shining bright, beautiful as ever. But tell us a little bit about the journey to who you are now, and give us a bit about that.
Okay, well, I have two beautiful children. I have a 31-year-old daughter. My son is 21, Joshua, and my daughter 31, Brittany. And I have two beautiful, I call them my glam babies. Cadence is 9 and Genesis is 3. As far as the journey, it's been a very, I'll say, exciting journey. You mentioned maternal wellness at the beginning during your introduction, and I can definitely relate to that. Feeling the way that you spoke about as far as when I went into the hospital to have my children. I was also there for the birth of both of my grandchildren. I had the opportunity and was blessed to see both of them come into the world, standing by my daughter's bedside and holding her hand. So yes, I feel like one of my greatest joys has been being a mother. For a long time, I would pray and ask God, what's my purpose? Or, why do you have me here? What am I supposed to be doing? And I questioned that about 20 years ago. I started questioning, what am I supposed to be doing? Why am I here? And I realized at that point that one of my greatest joys was being a mom, and that I was put here on this earth to be a mother to my children. Um, my children are everything to me. I'm very, very family oriented. But yeah, I'm a mother to the 10th power and then some.
I love it. I love it. So mother and then some. And then some. Listen, we'll play about our babies. We do not play about our babies at all, and not babies anymore. But the one thing we have is called Moms on a Mission, and that's the platform and one of the organizations that I deal with, really coaching and mentoring women. And even just Moms on a Mission, the whole point and the idea, the vision is that even being a mom and taking care and raising your children, it's not to lose sight of the purpose
Yes.
and the mission that God has assigned to you.
Yes.
And so if we even speak to that, right? How do you, because listen, we spoke about your businesses and different projects and things that you have happening. How were you able to consider that? Of course, now being a mom to the 10th degree, right? You is easily to get lost in that, and just really focusing on the children, focusing on, their goals and making sure they get, wherever it is that they're trying to go. How did you do that, right? And balance and still staying an entrepreneur and working your businesses and developing and really answering the call that was on your life, is on your life.
Yes. Good question. Yeah, it was really when they got older, if I have to be honest, because I really made it all about them as they were children, and into their teenage years. But when they got into their teenage years, and I was like, hey, I've done everything I can do. I've instilled the morals in them. I've instilled the values in them. They've been raised to know where their help comes from. They know to look to the hills. I
Right.
put all of those things in them. And so it was when they started going into their teenage years, and I was like, hey, it's time for me. I didn't even go back to school to get my degree until my daughter was about 10 years old. That's when I went to get my bachelor's degree. And I remember her saying, mommy, why do you have to leave? And I was only going to school 2 days a week. And I was like, this is going to make things better for you. It's going to make things better for me.
Mhm.
I transitioned as they got older, and now that they're all the way grown, and I just turned 50, it's my time.
What? 50? You better come on, sis. You look fabulous.
It's by the grace of God.
Amen.
I tell people all the time, it's the grace of God, it's prayer, it's living a joyful life. To be very honest with you, a lot of people say, what's your secret? Do you drink water? Do you do this? And I say, I pray and I'm happy. I wake up in the spirit of gratitude. It's so hard to walk around upset about anything when you wake up in the morning and you realize all the things you have in your life to be grateful for. And always like that, didn't always have that mindset. But when I realized, that's the secret to happiness. Waking up and just being grateful. When before I even open my eyes in the morning, I always say just internally, my internal messaging, right? I always say, what's your internal messaging? Before I even open my eyes, I say thank you. You know,
Amen.
I open my eyes, the first thing I see is the ceiling. And right then I have to thank God for shelter, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I see four walls around me and I see a ceiling above me.
Right.
Not everyone gets to wake up with that. So
Right.
it's the little things, which I think are also big things that we just have to be grateful for. And you just can't go around, being, the Grinch that stole Christmas when you have a heart and spirit of gratitude.
Right. Indeed, indeed. And I mean, the first of all, definitely starting with gratitude is so key. The other thing I was thinking when you were speaking is, and I'm learning that even a lot of things I'm posting, that happiness is a choice.
It is.
You think like, oh, that you just wake up joyful. No, like you make a decision that today I will be happy, that I will not let this circumstance, what is in front of me, like hinder, what I'm going to feel and how I'm going to be throughout this day. And that's so empowering. Like, no, my choice, I make a decision to be happy. I make a decision to listen to the music that makes me happy, get around the people that make me happy, do the things that make me happy, read the things that make, like, this is really the intentionality of it. Intentional living is so important, and happiness is a choice. It really, really is. And it's an inside job. You know what I mean? Like you said, you make the decision every day, what this day is going to be like. And that's what's so empowering, if you will. I don't know how you feel like, it's like, I could be pissed off. I could be mad. I could be sad. There's things that's going to happen, but I choose joy. I choose happiness, right? And that's what's the thing about that's it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Right, it's so empowering, right? Because it's like, and I feel like this all the time, especially even with women. We expected like someone to come and save us, somebody to come, and bring that happiness in, and help us to feel love. When no, if I love myself, you know what I mean, and I know, who loves me, no greater love, that really has been bestowed upon me, then I can move and operate in that. And I think that's certainly something that we need to remind ourselves every day.
Yes. Yes. And to answer your question about where Eve came from,
Yes, yes.
I was listening to an evangelist on television. This is had to be over 20 years ago, and they mentioned believe stands for because Emmanuel lives, I expect victory every day. And I thought that was so powerful, and it stayed with me. I wrote it down. I love writing down quotes and positive things that I hear. I have a quote book. And so I wrote it down, and I couldn't stop thinking about it for some reason. I ended up having a dream. And in the dream, I just saw Eve, just kept seeing Eve, Eve, Eve. And I was like, why do I keep seeing Eve? And so that's where it came from, is just they expect victory every day. But then I went on and I had the vision of empowering virtuous entrepreneurs. And I've always had a love for uplifting women. I know that's not something we do, or I should say, some of us don't do it. We're not taught to do it. For some reason, we compete. I don't know where that came from. I was never raised that way. I was never taught to compete with anybody. Right now, I compete with myself. I try to make sure I'm a better person today than I was yesterday. But we really need to collaborate. more as women. We really need to uplift each other, exalt each other, praise one another. And that's what I'm all about. So that's where Eve Expect Victory Every Day came from. And then the dual meaning of empowering virtuous entrepreneurs. That's where it came from.
Love it, love it. So as in this, you are. Is it more training? Is it empowerment? You have. I know you have your segments and the platforms when you go live. How do you do that?
Right now it's just a message. My goal and my dream is Eve Network, and is a network of women that are supporting each other in business. So that is the goal, and I'm just starting to launch that. Coming out of my comfort zone closet, since it took me 50 years, but I made it.
Come on, come
Here
on.
I am. I feel like Celie on The Color Purple. I may be black, I may even be ugly, but I'm here.
I'm here. And
I'm,
I don't even know about the took you 50 years, right? Because first of all, you don't I'm sure you don't look like what you've been through.
I don't.
Okay. That part I'll bet money on that. Okay.
By the grace of God, I have to say that by the grace of God.
Amen. 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 And understanding that it's like, it's the journey, right? Like it's just really, really is the process in that regard. So that's incredible. And so there's something about you talked about was the vision. And I know we even speak about that. And I want you to talk a little bit about that. What do you mean, like the vision? Because what does that mean to you to have a vision, for your life and for other women? If you're talking about empowerment and the network and what that looks like, talk to me a little bit about the vision and not losing the vision. Because I'm sure you didn't just come up with this vision. It just didn't happen this week or last week or what have you. I'm sure it was, in development and how you got to the point, well, I'm going to start this. I'm going to launch this. You talked about being uncomfortable. Just speak a little bit about that for many of the women and men that can be watching and really not sure. They got a vision. I think this is what I should be doing. Like, I can't shake this. This is still with me. How do I move forward?
Yes, a vision is something that once you have it, you never lose it. It's not going to go anywhere. I've had it for some time, and God just told me I need to move. I'll also say this: God spoke to my heart and said, if you don't do it, I'll find somebody else. So I would say to people that are watching, men or women, if you have a vision, God's work is going to get done, whether it's done through you or somebody else. And if you're not willing, he gives us free will. So if you're not willing, he will, give that vision to somebody else. And I thank God that he's allowed me, not only allowed me to have the vision, but is allowing me. He allowed me to be in my comfort zone closet for a long time. And I don't know what it was about me turning 50. I said, hey, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna take some courage. I'm gonna drink this courage cocktail, and I'm gonna come on out this closet. I'm a behind the scenes type of person. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a behind the scenes type of person. I've never been comfortable being up front, out front. I much rather be the cameraman or the camera woman, I should say, instead of being the person that the camera is pointed on. Even at church, I served many years on the Ministry of Hospitality, and also became an evangelist, a missionary, I should say. Not an evangelist missionary. I wanted to just serve because I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to be out front. And I remember my pastor telling me, because my heart is right, because I don't want to be seen, because I want to help people. That's why God is pushing you forward. That's why he's pushing you out there, because your heart is right. A lot of people do things and they do it for the wrong reasons, or they do it to be seen. And I never wanted to do the ministry of hospitality, which involved me standing up in front of the congregation and welcoming the visitors. I used to say, hey, can I just go clean the bathrooms, before service is over for the women? So when they go down there, it smells good and it looks good. Or, can I go get the kitchen ready for the Sunday chicken dinner sale? Those are the type of things that I wanted to do, anything but being out front. But it's so important, if you have a vision, to follow through and to move as you're being prompted and led to move. That's important. I can't begin to tell you how that important that is. So, never give up on, if God's given it to you, he gave it to you for a reason.
Yeah.
But move, because his work will be done again, whether it be through you or whether it be somebody else.
Yeah, it's so true. The key thing even about that is move. You got to take action, right? I think it was Les Brown that says, the graveyard is the richest place because we die with so much purpose, right, and talent and the gifts inside of us. And I'm just like, not on my watch. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what we're going to do. If you're connected to us, if you're connected to Moms on a Mission, you can, not on my watch. Like, what's in you got to come out. Like, let's not do that. And of course, even now, again, talking about the pandemic, and we all know it, have experienced such great loss.
Yes.
Such great loss, right? And if nothing else, it's like, it's now or never. What you're waiting for? Like, what are you waiting for? I mean, and I think somewhere, like validation. I know one of my mentors, Dr. Ruben West, he say validation is for parking tickets. You waiting for somebody else to validate you? You waiting for somebody else to tell you that you're good enough? You waiting for somebody else to say, yeah, that vision that God gave you, that's good? No, you need to move forward on the vision that God has given you, and that is so key. So key. So I love hearing that. I love watching you doing just that, if you will. And again, when we think about women and mothers, we're so used to being in the background, right, and not using our voice, right, not opening your mouth and speaking and saying what God has told you to say or doing what he's told you to do, right? So that's a common thing. And I always, in our training, we call it the shadow seekers, the people that always want to be in the back, but I really believe that this is the time in the season that you from the back, I see you, come on up here. Be comfortable in the front of the room, right? Be comfortable speaking and not even, and I can't even say just comfortable, of course, in your own skin, but really being comfortable in who God says you are, in your true identity. And it's not being in the back. It's not, you know what I mean, hiding behind other people. It's not it. It's not it. So I love that part of your story and of your journey, if you will. So that's good. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about that part, and then we want to go on to other things and the entrepreneurship, the business, and the training, the instructor that you are. So anything else you want to touch on as we talk about the vision and moving forward?
I just want to encourage anyone that's watching or that sees this later to just be encouraged and just know that if you take one step, God will take the next two. You just got to take that one step. That's all it took for me. I just had to take that one step and be consistent. Be consistent.
Good.
Whatever it is you want to do. Have a positive mindset. Make sure your internal messaging is positive, and then action. Just move, and you can do anything. I tell people all the time, um, we are limitless potential. There's nothing that we cannot do once we set our minds to it. We have everything within us. A lot of people say, well, I can't do what I want to do until I do this, or I can't do what I want to do until, I do that, or I got to get this certification, or I got to do this, or I got to go get educated. No, when God puts something in you,
Come on.
he already has validated
Yes.
the day you were born.
Yes.
Validated the day we were born, and we were created to create. So don't let anything stop you from your goals, your dreams, and your vision.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So I'm just going to, before we move forward, there's one thing that you said. I want you to talk to me about this internal messaging.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? How do I develop it? Talk to me about that. I just don't want to just put a pin in that right there. Talk to me about that, because that's good.
Okay, internal messaging for me is just positive thoughts, positive thinking, having a positive mindset. We can't control the things going on around us, but we can control our thoughts. We can control our thought process. We talked about making the choice to be happy. That's my internal messaging. I choose to be happy. I choose to speak to myself with kind words, instead of thinking, oh, I can't do that. I change it and I say, you know what, I can do that. Sometimes we see things that we want and we think to ourselves, oh, I could never have that. You have to change that internal messaging. Yes, I can have that and I deserve that. And I always tell people, you are worthy. You are worthy by virtue of who you are. And that's the first thing you have to realize. We all have to realize who we are. Once you realize who you are, it changes how you think. It changes how you carry yourself. Realizing who I am in the spiritual realm. I started walking different. I started talking different. I started thinking different. So internal messaging for me, it means your thought process and how you talk to yourself. It should always be with kind words. Looking in the mirror, we always tend to see the flaws. We need to look in the mirror and see how beautiful we are, because we were all wonderfully and beautifully created, all different. And so that's what the internal messaging is for me. Just, what are we saying to ourselves? What are we speaking to ourselves? It must always be positive. I am allergic to negativity. I repel negativity.
Yes,
I
yes.
cannot function in a negative environment. I cannot be attached to negative people. So always positive, and learning that this thing right here has so much power.
Mm-hmm.
Has
Mm-hmm.
so much power. When I teach financial literacy, I tell people, master your mouth and you'll master your money.
Wait a minute now. Let me write that down. And if you watch and put that in the comments in the replay, and always like, comment, and share. Engage with us. But listen, master
Your
your
mouth,
mouth. Uh-huh.
you'll master
And
your
you
money.
master your money. Talk about that.
That just speaking what we speak, a lot of times we speak poverty, we speak brokenness on
Mm.
ourselves. We got to realize how powerful this thing is. The Bible says a life, there's life and death in the power of
Yes.
the tongue. And when I think
Yes.
about that, I think about how you can, with your tongue you can praise a child to success.
That's
you
it.
with that same tongue you can tear a child down. With our tongues we can praise a person or adult to success, or with our tongue we can praise, we can, demean. I see how sometimes men will demean women in relationships with what they say. Women will demean their husbands in relationships and what they say. Just this thing right here, two things that we have that are a part of us that rule our entire bodies are our mouth and our mind.
Mm.
We can get
That's good.
we can get those two in check and get those two under control, and realize we control them and not let them control us.
Yeah.
So that's when I say master your. You'll never hear me say I'm broke. You'll never hear me
Come
say,
on.
you'll never hear me say. You just have to change that internal messaging.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
have If you don't have money to do something, I never say I don't have.
Yeah.
I
I
never say
love it.
I don't have, because if you're always saying I don't have, guess
Yeah.
what you're gonna be? In a state of not having.
Yes. Lack. Yes. Yes.
Just have to really watch what you say, not
So
over
powerful.
your life, but when speaking to other people, make sure it's always uplifting, make sure it's always positive, and you're speaking positive on things over other people's life. I like to speak positive and prosperity over people's life. I like to speak health and wellness over people's
Yes.
lives,
Yeah.
and just everything that. So
Mm.
right here, if you can master your mouth, you can master your money. A lot of things that we deal with financially is because we speak it on ourselves, because we have
Yes.
more power in our tongues than we realize. We don't realize how powerful our tongues are.
Yeah. That's good. That's so, so good. Now, and I want to just stop here because, people see us and they just don't know. If you know, I see Dr. Betty Speaks is here. Mr. Reginald Brown, thank you for watching. Make sure you comment, like, and share. So thanks for letting us know you're here. How do you develop that though? Right? Especially when things are negative around you. So if I'm in a negative environment or I'm around people that's negative, how did you, and I know you spoke one thing about the quote book, right? So you know how you just saying these things, but I know that there's things that there's tools. You know, you develop a toolkit, if you will, right? Journaling. You do different things to help you to develop that. So, what do you say that are some ways or some things that I can do to develop, you know, this positive mindset, to develop the internal messaging and make sure that I'm speaking life? What do you use to do that and to develop it, if you will?
A lot of things. I would say prayer is one.
Good.
Top of my list personally. Meditation,
Okay.
self-care, taking time to take care of self, because if you're not good, you can't be good to anybody else. I
Yeah.
am big on self-care, and when I say self-care, I mean the whole me. I mean mental, I mean physical. We do everything for everyone else. As women, we wear so many hats. We're mothers, we're wives, we're sisters, we're daughters, we're caretakers, we're business women, we're entrepreneurs. So we wear a lot of hats. But prayer, self-care, meditation, definitely something that has helped me has been my gratitude journal. I started it years ago, just waking up and writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for. A vision board can be another tool. You have to know where you're going. You have to know what your hopes are, what your dreams are, what your goals are. And I find when I talk to people, a lot of times, I will ask people that question when I meet them. And sometimes it surprises me because people will look at me like a deer caught in headlights because they have no dreams and they have no goals. And I'd say to them, I was like, do you know you were put on this earth for a reason, a purpose, and I need for you to figure it out. We're down here to do some things. We were put here to do some things. So not just to take up the oxygen, right? Not just for that, but to do something with our lives. So those are some of the things that have helped me over the years. The gratitude journal, again, there's something about gratitude. I don't care what type of day you're having, even if something happens or you experience something, because we're human, right? Things upset us. When I take a moment to breathe, and if I can just put my mind on gratitude, being grateful, you know, always finding, when you have challenges in life, I always, that's always good. I always tell people, whenever you think you've arrived, take the time to think back about the ride to get to where you are. So when you think you have arrived, go back and think about the ride to get to where you are.
Yeah, that's good.
If you do that, you'll always put yourself in a place of gratitude. You should never forget where you came from. Never forget what you've been through. I know, I used to be one of those people that will look at people and say, well, why don't they just do this? Or how did they get like this? And God started dealing with me about compassion, right? Having compassion for people, being more compassionate, because you don't know people's story. I've all heard you see the glory, but you don't know the story.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, you talked about maternal wellness and having babies. After my daughter, who's 31 years old, I lost 3 babies during pregnancy, 3 years in a row, 96, 97, 98. And that's why my children are 10 years apart, because I lost 3 in between, before God blessed me with my son. So it is so important that you have that mindset of being positive, being grateful, having either a gratitude journal, having a strong prayer life. And I prayed and I asked God to surround me by positive women. I prayed and asked God to surround me by positive influence. I strongly believe that all you got to do is ask. Some people say put it out in the universe. All you have to do is put it out there in the universe what you want, and it'll come to you. And once you put it out, expect it. Expect it. I live in a constant state of expectancy. A constant state of
Come
expectancy.
on.
I live intentionally. I do things intentionally. When I get up and I get dressed and I go out, it's intentional. I tell myself I'm going to compliment 3 people today. I'm
Good.
going make somebody smile today. And even though I can't see their smile, right? Because most of us are wearing
Right,
masks,
right.
you know, I'm gonna make their eyes smile. You can
Yes,
smile in people's eyes.
yes,
It's just being intentional about what you do, being grateful, being intentional, being positive, and
yeah.
just living in a state of expectancy. You know, just wake up and just put it out there. I'm expecting this on today. I'm expecting that. Every time I wake up, I'm grateful, and I expect to have a great day.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, you talked about so many things, and the gratitude journal is key, because even what I'm learning now is, they say you need to, you have the things that you pray for, you now have. You know what I mean? But you miss that along the way, because we get so comfortable. We're like, okay, I'm in this house that I wanted 20 years ago, or I drive this car, but that gratitude journal and writing it down and taking time, to appreciate and to be grateful for the things that you have, right? That's so powerful. Very, very powerful. I'm glad that you just really, took the time to really hone in on that a bit, because it makes a difference, because it's a lot of times we pray for the things, and I think I talked about some of the other shows, and we might just say, thank you, Lord, for a good 20 minutes, but you've been praying for 20 years. So now how much, wait a minute. Where's the gratitude? Where's the joy? Where is, the adoration, to really what God has already done? It's just really, really incredible. And the other thing, just talking about moving by faith, because that's really what we're talking about. When I expect things, my expectancy is because of the faith that I have, right? That no, I know that, listen, money is coming to me, team is coming to me, business is coming, clients is coming to me. Like, you have to speak that, because honestly, everything out there is telling you the opposite. Everything out there is looking different. So having that internal messaging is so, so key. This is good. This is really, really good. I thank you so much. I know we're getting some of the comments. I'm going to come back to those, but yes, expect the unexpected. Absolutely. I go to the mailbox. Who's sending me a check that day? Listen, who's signing up for this? Right? I mean, like, honestly, I am expecting that, and it changes your whole perspective. And you even talked about really is dealing with your identity, right? Now, knowing who you are and whose you are, and that affects who you'll be around. That affects what you allow people to say around you. I mean, that's huge, how you carry yourself, how you walk into the room. And a lot of times we are in a self-identity crisis. We really are, because you really don't know who you are. You've put on this whole identity, right, of what someone else in the world has told you who to be and how to be, and what, because of the things that you've gone through, right? That's a whole nother thing, sis. That's this is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. So listen, we got to move on, because I want you to talk about the financial training,
Okay.
right? And what do you see now? Give us some tips and some things right now, even in the season. We're talking about post-pandemic COVID, right? This era that we're in now. Give us some things about that, but then also in regards to business and entrepreneurship, and how you were able to launch all these various businesses, and why is it important, right, to own a business, and what are the benefits? And that can even tie into the financial, right, piece of it too. So I want you just to go in a little bit of that, because clearly that is a part of your gifting, and your talent. So I want you just to share something with the audience today.
Yes, it's something I ran away from for many, many years. But I just, the more I ran, the more I couldn't get away from it. And I came up with every excuse in the book. One of them was, well, Lord, people aren't going to listen to me because, who am I? I'm just a little bitty old girl from Gary, Indiana, and I'm not, a financial expert. And so I said, I'm going to go and get certified, because one thing I know about people, especially my people, people of color, when you stand before them to talk to them about anything, they're kind of looking at you side eye, because they want to know what qualifies you to be talking to me. And remember earlier I said, don't let that stop you, because when God gives you a vision or gives you a mission, he validates you and he stands behind you. But I went out because I wanted that certification. I went ahead and I got that certification about 6 years ago, to be a certified financial education instructor. Very different from a financial advisor. And so I want to just point out what the difference is. A financial advisor will advise you on investments, life insurance, things of that nature. But a financial education instructor will teach you about money, will teach you about credit, will teach you how credit works, how money works, will teach you what type of life insurance you need. Whereas an advisor will just sell you the life insurance. They're not really there to educate you. They're there to put you into the financial vehicles that you need to be put in, but not really to educate you on it. Life insurance, the same way. They're just going to sign you up. They're not going to tell you about term life and whole life. And usually they're going to sell you basically whatever they make the highest commission off of. So I saw the need for financial literacy because it is not taught in our school system. Nobody taught me. Everything I learned either through professional education and through the certification and through life experiences. So now my vision and my passion is to teach people financial literacy because it's something that we lack. I believe it should be taught in schools. That's a whole nother show. I think we know why it's not taught in schools, but what put me on the path is I was in my 20s when I worked for a company, and the owner had two little boys, 7 and 5, and I'll never forget them, Alex and Ryan. They came into the office after hours one day and they said, "Hey, Miss Paula, can we use your computer?" And I said, "Sure." I was like, "Those are your dad's computers anyway." I was joking because their dad owned the company. And I remember I was copying, doing something for their dad, who was my boss. And I looked over and to see what they were doing on the computer, and they were on the stock exchange. I saw the little tickler line, like that you have for the stock exchange, and I said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And at 5 and 7, they said to me, "Oh, we're just buying penny stocks, selling them for a nickel." And I said, "What? What are you doing?" And they said it again. "Oh, we're just buying penny stocks and selling them for a nickel."
Wow.
They were 5 and 7. That was
Mhm.
the beginning of my journey right
Yes.
there. Because
Yes.
I'm thinking to myself,
Yes.
our 5 and 7 year olds,
Yes.
they know about Beyonce, they know about
Come
Jay,
on.
and
Right.
there's nothing wrong with that. But
Mhm.
on
Mhm.
top of that, I need you to know your ABCs and your one.
Yes.
But this is something they were being taught.
Wow.
Mom and dad were teaching them this, and that it blew my mind.
Mhm.
I just started asking questions. I had a lady at my church who owned a financial company at the time, and I went to her with questions, and she said, "Paula, you're asking the right questions." One of them was, "How can you buy a $60,000, $70,000 car and have it paid off in 5 or 6 years, which is the most they'll finance it for?
Mhm.
But if you go buy a $60,000, $70,000 house, it takes you 30 years to pay it off."
Mm.
One of my questions.
Mhm. Mhm.
And now you're asking the right questions. And then I
Mhm.
found out it's all because of how the interest is calculated.
Right.
That's how you can pay the $70,000 car off in 5 or 6 years, but it takes 30 years to pay off a $70,000 house.
Yes.
You pay 210,000. You
Yeah.
know,
At the end.
Yes,
Yep.
70,000 3 times, because most of it is interest,
Mhm.
and how that's calculated. So that was the beginning of that journey for me. Not being able to establish credit at 18, 19 years old, and I'm like, well, how am I supposed to establish it if nobody will give me
Give
any?
it to me. Right.
So, going through that, establishing my credit, messing my credit up,
Mhm.
I would have money to pay my bills and still send my bills in a day or two late,
Mhm. Mhm.
not realizing I was tearing up my credit score, and having to fix it. I fixed my own credit,
Mhm.
and after that, people were like, well, can you fix mine? Started with friends and family. Next thing you know, I was repairing people's credit. I read the Fair Credit Reporting Act,
Okay.
that came out in 1965. And, I was like, hey, this works for everybody else. It'll work for me too. It'll work for us too. So I started helping people build their credit. But that's it all started. with that story of the 5 and the 7-year-old, that's really where it began. When I look back, that was my aha moment. That's
Yeah.
the light bulb went off, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay.
This 7-year-old is they're buying penny stocks and selling them for a nickel.
Wow, 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 yeah. I mean, that's what they say. People that lack of knowledge, what we really just don't know, right? That we suffer the most, we pay the most. It's just not. So I realized that's really what drove you, your passion in developing that. And I like how you break the difference between, being an advisor and an instructor, right? Was because at the end is how they're going to benefit, like they got something to sell you. So what can I, get you to purchase, right? That will then benefit me. So the intent is different.
Yes.
Sure. So this is really good. So now tell me, who do you actually serve? Do you focus on really with youth, or is it women? Tell me a bit about who do you serve when you are, holding your classes and things.
I serve everybody. I teach children. I can teach all ages. The certification allowed me to have a curriculum for all age groups.
Okay.
So anybody that wants to learn, I started doing financial education workshops here in the Henry County area, in McDonough, Georgia, and through the Locust Grove Library System. Before the pandemic, I had started reaching out to churches so that I could go and do free education workshops through the churches. And I had four scheduled before the pandemic. All canceled. It's like as soon as I started, like, I'm gonna get out there. I need to reach more people.
Yeah.
Here comes COVID. But I do families. I've gone to people's homes and they've had all their family members come over, and I've talked to them, just to give them the education. So when you go to the financial advisor, they can't just sell you anything, because you've been equipped with knowledge. I remember the first life insurance policy I was ever sold was a whole life policy. Mm-hmm. It wasn't what I needed.
Right.
My family and I needed, and it wasn't what we could afford, but because the financial advisor told us,
yes,
that's what we needed, and we didn't know any better.
Yes.
Also not realizing they get paid higher commission on policies, which most low to middle income people term life insurance. Because I didn't know that. I remember when I got educated about it, I remember how I felt, and I remember going back and talking to my insurance lady. I hadn't been saved that long, and so I came up her on one side and down the other. I hadn't been saved that long.
I know that's right.
You did what was best for you.
Yes,
what was best for me and my family, and I trusted you. So that's really the difference, is educating. You're equipped with the knowledge that you need. So now when they're throwing all this terminology, financial terms and jargon at you, you know what they're talking about.
I love it. This is good. Now we have to come back, and I certainly want, of course, now even in this virtual space, that we could have you come back on Moms on a Mission, maybe do a workshop or two. Let's do this, because now more than ever, I know you could definitely see that even with buying homes and credit and things now, we really see the emphasis of that. And we know we have like the stimulus and different things that are coming out, right? And there's ways that now we can benefit and use the money the right way and make investments and do things. So I think it's very, very important. We're going to talk definitely offline. We're going to have you come back. We, of course, with Blessed Girls, we could do some things with, really training and empowering the youth as well. So I see two opportunities for us to bring you back and continue, the mission and the focus that you have. And of course, that we will expect victory every day, every day. This was so good. I just want to say thank you for your yes. I always say your yes, because there's something about getting the yes, because, we get a whole lot of no's. We talk about that in business, right? But when you have sisters, you have brothers that are, that will give you a yes just to support you and to support the tribe that's connected to you. I am always grateful for that. And I just appreciate you for coming and sharing a bit today on Real Talk, Real Solutions. And just, I love that, Eve. I want them to get that today. And those that are watching, and EVE, that you will expect victory. Come on, give it to him every day. You drop so many nuggets today, and I appreciate you. And I tell everybody, even if you're watching in the replay, just type in replay, but let us know, where you're signing in from, and if you want more information, and definitely about the financial piece, and there's so much. She does so much more. We didn't even have the time. Just goes. We didn't have time to talk about other opportunities and business things that she has happening. But we're definitely going to have her to come back, and we'll talk more again, and offer some of these workshops, and make sure that we continue to empower and encourage and inspire, our tribe. So I thank you. I thank you again. Any closing words before we end tonight?
Thank you. Thank you for the platform. And efinancial1.com is the website for my financial education and service for anyone who wants to reach out. But thank you. And just want to encourage people to move. When I moved and I stepped out on faith, I cannot begin to tell you how much God has blessed since I've moved. So move, think positive, have a positive mindset, wake up with what I call an Eve mindset every day. So
Yes.
expecting victory every day. And I thank you for your yes.
Amen. 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 I'm going to put in the feed is EVE financial1.com.
Yes, the number one.
The number one. Okay, EveFinancial1.com. So you can certainly go to her website and learn more about all the services that she offers, and continue to connect. There we go. Okay, is there. Make sure. Okay, awesome. But also, you'll see her on Facebook. Make sure you connect and follow this amazing woman, Miss Paula Reed, because again, I think we just touched a little bit today of her story, of her experience, her expertise. So you want to definitely stay connected with her as we move on. Like we just getting started. I really believe that, and this is really such a time as this that we stand up, we be heard, right, and we do and move forward in the vision and all that God has called us to be. So I thank you again. But all right, guys, so we are wrapping it up. It's just been another episode of Real Talk, Real Solutions with Dr. Anana Pfeiffer Darrell. I thank you so much for chiming in. Again, make sure you like, comment, and share. And you know what we say. It's time, even in this season, to make sure that you be bold, that you be you. And y'all know, be blessed. Be blessed, be blessed, be blessed. Continue to operate, right, in your excellent self. Listen, be all that God has called you to be. And no, it's not even really about you, but you don't know. You don't know who's watching. You don't know who needs to hear your story and hear your testimony. So I thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Real Talk, Real Solutions. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Have a great night.